As you know, and some of you may not know, I'm Sarah Banks, the Assistant Finance Director for the city. And this is Nick Nicholson, who is our auditor from Fresno Gage. And we're excited to present tonight our 2017 annual CAFR. There's a lot of work that's been put into this. And so he's going to do an overview to let you know how the city did in 2017. So, here you go. Thank you.
I'll get this set up here and hopefully I choose the right one.
Welcome, Nick.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I got it first time. Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I guess I've only one new face, I think, from the last time. And so I'm Nick Nicholson. It's great to meet you. And I'm from Fresno Gage. I can't remember how many years we've now been doing the audit for City of Moscow. It's been quite a few years. And so we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. And we had another good and successful audit with Gary and Sarah. And we really appreciate the work that they put in during that time as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, yeah, go ahead.
Just interrupt you for 1 second. We actually have two new counselors, Ann Zbola here and Brandy Sullivan down at the end that have.
Okay, I guess I met Brandy on the URA for several years as well.
I think I may have been here when you did the report at the end of the year too, and I was appointed to finish John Weber's term, perhaps. But yeah.
Okay.
Yep, fair enough. So I will kind of dive in. Obviously, big, thick annual report. I do not wish to delve into every page because we do not have that much time tonight, and I would not do that to anybody. So I'm going to try to hit the highlights, some of the key points, and I'll give you a chance at the end if you have any specific questions for me or Gary or Sarah. So what is a CAFR? It's basically a comprehensive annual financial report. Annually, it's an audit with some additional information. A CAFR is basically governed by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board and the GFOA, which is the Government Finance Office. Basically, they require a few additional things beyond basic financial reporting in order to report a comprehensive annual financial report. And the report, basically, the biggest deal behind the CAFR is that it is a report that the GFOA really delves into and goes into deep, and they give a certification of financial excellence on that report. And the biggest benefit to you guys is it is a report that allows you to get better rates when you go out for bonds. And that is the biggest benefit to you guys. And so over the last several years, the ability to get that certification year in and year out has saved the city a lot of money when you guys have gone out for bonding. So that is the primary purpose of doing the expanded report. In an audit, I kind of like to go through what is really the responsibility of all the partners involved here. The city has a responsibility. We as auditors have a responsibility. So your guys' responsibility is really the documentation and the accuracy in reporting, your own internal controls. That is your set of internal controls. That's your duty to watch over that. And then actually the preparation and presentation of the financial statements. That's a common misconception that the auditors create this report. Really, that report is your report. It is information that you guys see on a monthly or bi-monthly, however often you meet. That information is what is presented to you. And really, our only responsibility is to express an opinion on that financial information as a whole. And so that's really our responsibility. We have 3 opinions that we put on the financial statements. One is on the fair presentation of the actual financial report. The second is on the governmental auditing standards, which is your internal controls over financial reporting and compliance. And then the last one, which is not every year, is the Single Audit Act. We had that this year, and basically what that is if you expend over $750,000 in a year of federal financial assistance, so federal grants, loans, if you spend that much money in the year, we have to test your major federal programs and issue another report on that. And that we did have that this year with a few of your major projects that you got through federal dollars. So those are the 3 opinions that we have. And as a good note, all three opinions came back with what we call unmodified opinions, which people ask, unmodified, that seems like you're copping out a little bit. But that is the report name, basically, that we are governed to say, and it is what we call a clean opinion. Basically, nothing rose to the level where we felt that there was anything misrepresented. There was no internal controls that we felt that were lacking or were not being put in place over the financial reporting, and you're in compliance with all of your statutes. And then on the Single Audit Act, you were appropriately expending and overseeing the use of those funds. So that is the kudos. And so with that, basically that is the extent of what my report or our report is a clean opinion. So with that being said, we'll go into some of the highlighted details of the financial information on here. So here's some of the just kind of financial highlights. At the end of the year, the city's government-wide net position, basically, you'll see two terms throughout this. There's net position and there's fund balance. And many of you have heard my spiel of what the two different kinds of financial statements are in this. For any newbies, there is two basic sets of financial statements. One set is on what's called a full accrual set of financial statements, and that's where you will see the government-wide net position. And what that is that's a set of standards of accounting that treats the records kind of in a business-like manner. You will see your statement of net position is your balance sheet in a business world. You've got your assets, you got your liabilities, you capitalize your equipment and you depreciate it over its life. You have debt that you put on the balance sheet, and as you pay it down, it changes your net position that way. It is really not how you operate your general, governmental accounting. It's more of a business-like type, which probably coincides, or it does coincide more with like your water, sewer, garbage fund. It makes more sense in that arena than it does your general fund, Parks and Rec, which is in the second set of financial statements, which is a modified accrual, and it's more of a budgetary style basis. Basically, you budget that I'm going to expend $100,000 on this project, and when you spend it, it's out of your resources. And that topic, your fund balance, is the terminology there. So that's why you'll see the two different terminologies. Net position is business-like, full accrual, fund balance being modified accrual and more of a budgetary style. So the net position for the government-wide is about $6.9 million. That's an increase of about 6.66% from the prior year. The biggest increase in that is really due to the accumulation of current projects and the accumulation of funds for future projects. So you guys have been doing some pretty big projects and planning for some future ones in the water and sewer area especially, and so that's the biggest area of increase in your net position, or basically your equity, if you like that term better. In the governmental, this is non-business related, governmental restricted fund balance. These are basically funds that you have in your governmental arena, your water, or not your water, but your general fund, your Parks and Rec, those items. You have some funds that you're not allowed to touch. Basically, they're restricted for a specific purpose. Those restricted fund balances total about $3.1 million. They consist of about $78,000 for debt service, just under $300,000 for highway user fees. Those have to be expended in a certain manner. And then the biggest one, just under $2.8 million, is the Hamilton funds that are still required to be spent for cultures and recreation. In the business type, water, sewer, garbage, your restrictions for net position total about $15.6 million. 14 million of that is for future capital projects, and the other 1.6 is for your future debt service. There at the bottom you can see kind of a chart of the total government-wide operating expenses. Basically, that's how much it costs to run the city of Moscow for the last 5 years. You can see just kind of a steady increase as you would expect. And these operating expenses do not include your capital outlay, which basically means your capital assets, your projects capitalized, and the inter-fund transfers back and forth. So we excluded that.